Hey y'all, this is Brandon Hex coming at you with my review for The Walking Dead TV show, Season 7, Episode 12. Alright, so we get started with the episode titled Say Yes. From last week, the preview, I was not looking forward to the episode exactly. Again, Little John on Talking Dead had said, they were like, what do you think about the next episode? And the preview you just saw, and he's like, nothing. Same old, same old. While I would tend to agree, of course, I'm going to be one of those sticklers that goes character development. And this was good. I liked it, particularly because Michonne and Rick, they hooked up, but we didn't get the, I guess, the understanding of how deep their relationship goes. And at the start, I think that's a good indicator. I mean, they're kind of animalistic, at this point. They're both out, they're together, they're looking, scavenging for stuff. One thing I didn't think was very bright was, they went into a house where they couldn't see anything. I'm like, that's got to be like super dangerous in the zombie apocalypse. But, it also desperate time calls for desperate measures. So I just, that's what I thought of. This episode had a lot of callbacks to previous episodes as well. Most notably, people are going to be talking about the Glenn escaping zombie death and how Rick kind of pulls the same maneuver. So yeah, we get into the episode and they're searching around and they finally hit something, which is two gentlemen playing golf of all things. Now this is probably the most mind-boggling part for me. Assumably there are other survivors out there that may not be a part of any community. At this point, I'm going to guess they, we're thinking, one, it's not worth finding out what community they're from, even if it's one of their friendly ones, even if it's Negan, and they can say we are Negan and take their chances with introducing themselves. But what was the point? And at that, they also did not kill them. They didn't take their stuff. They didn't say, well, this is what we came for. Bam, bam. Two more people dead, but we got what we need. So any means necessary, but they have their humanity still. They're still good guys. They may have talked about it, but they're not willing to do it, which is kill other people to get what they need, especially when they don't know who those people are. Certainly don't know if they need to die, and at that point it wasn't worth looking at them for allies. So maybe that was the biggest question I had throughout the episode. They got into the parts with Rosita still having the stick up her you-know-what. But the main focus would be on Rick and Michonne. And, I want to go back to Rosita when she's out searching. They had the many-layered zombie, I would call it. I liked showing that what was otherwise an easy kill for Rosita got a little complicated. There was no real danger, but she had to hack through twice, and then she just realized, all right, straight out headshot, right down the middle. And of course gets the toy gun, which nowadays we all know that red dot. The second we all saw it, we're like, oh. She had a little more prolonged reaction, but yeah. So then we get to the Rick and Michonne bulk of the story, and we're at this carnival setting. And again, this is not mind-boggling for me at all. I'm not even thinking about how this scenario happens, where you've got a carnival and you have military, and how could all these zombies be entrapped in this area? It's very awkward, but yeah, so I'm not really thinking about it. More callbacks. This whole thing was full of callbacks. The deer falling through the roof, laughing it off. This is it. Game plan. Of course, Michonne kicking more ass than probably everybody. Then the part where Rick comes across the deer again, and well, too bad. Looks like it's going to be zombie food. At that point, I think he'd rather let it get away than the zombies get it if he's not going to, but it all goes horribly wrong, of course. The deer ends up dying anyway. Rick used it as his camouflage for him to fade away into the background, which is cool. I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, I seen him pop out of that little secure fenced area he made for himself on the fly. It was pretty cool. Michonne dropping it, just being like, all right, this is it. The dude I'm getting it on with is gone. I've lost a couple of these in the last 7 years, whatever, time frame. So she's just like, I'm done. And then Rick appears. I thought that was great. Probably made the episode for me. Again, not a bad episode, but if I had to pick a bright moment, I did like seeing him just kind of whop out of there and then throw the sword to her, and she catches it, and right away she's. So it was all classic Rick and Michonne stuff, basically. We get back to Rosita, and she's talking to Father Gabriel. She's upset, as one would be with a person who's speaking sense. When you come to a person repeatedly for their guidance, even though you're like, everything you told me to do, I did, and it blew up in my face, you still go back to them because you're looking for guidance. You want someone to tell you what to do, and you want them to tell you what you want to hear. Rosita, unfortunately, isn't hearing from anyone what she wants to hear until a little later. We'll get to that. Back on the road with Michonne and Rick. Rick-shone, whatever they're being called. We get the intimate stuff, the playful stuff, uh, building each other's self-esteem up as I can't do this without you, and vice versa. So they clear house in the carnival scene, which I thought was, again, good. The payoff for me being Rick's appearance. Then they slowly go around collecting what they can, and what they can get is very good. They got a lot of guns, they got a lot of food, a lot of supplies. They could, they literally had their pick of the litter there, and they went with all the important stuff. No teddy bears or unwinnable prizes that they could claim all of. They just want those guns, which is the attainable prize nowadays, eh? Tell that to the wire cat and the crocheted whatever that is Eugene's got. But at any rate, the Rick-shone meet up with the Alexandria folks, and they head out to the scavengers. And this is where it gets a little muddled. The scavengers aren't exactly happy. They're kind of renegotiating on the fly, and Rick is using their tactics against them. And it works for now. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of people speculated scavengers, possibly the Whisperers. And if you're watching this video, you're probably an in-depth fan enough to know who the Whisperers are without me saying it now, getting into detail. But they are enemies that come up after Negan, probably a season after Negan is done. And that's going to be at least a season and a half, maybe 2 seasons with Negan. Depends on how all out they go for season 8 with All Out War. But Jadis and her crew, so they were Alpha and Beta. I'm kind of thinking, well, in the comics right now, they have that one girl, she slips my mind, Dwight's wife, Sherry, who pulls a surprise maneuver in the comics. Caught me really off guard. It actually was shocking. Last page reveal, cliffhanger deal for how comics work. So I'm thinking maybe Jadis might pull that move, because Sherry, as you go with actors, they all get other gigs, and something comes up where it's like, hey, you've got this bit part on The Walking Dead, and you're good, and we like you in that. How would you like the lead role in this? And that's tough to say no to, of course. #1 show or your own leading role. Maybe you'll bomb. You gotta find out. That's part of the acting life. You got to go for it when you get the chance. So we'll see how things go for everybody who departs the show that way. But on the show, that probably means killing off, although Sherry and Heath, character-wise, have been written off for possible returns, because, again, you never know what's going to happen. Could bomb, and they've got a safety net, which is great for them, especially great for actors in general to have a safety net like that. I have a theory about Heath, which I will save for a special video. I also have no theory about Sherry, so that's why I've come to the conclusion about possibly Jadis being the one who pulls a Sherry right out of the comic books after All Out War and after the Whisperers. Technically not after the Whisperers, but that's kind of the point of the storyline in the comic, is after the Whisperers, there's us. And we're going to take what's left. Oh, did I spoil the comic? Yeah, I probably did. Alright, so then we get to the part about Rick is back now, and easing into the regular routine a bit, and he sees Tara, and Tara is like, hey, I don't know where Rosita is, but I have to tell you something. And then we cut to Rosita, and she's walking determined, and she's walking through a community pretty sternly, and I was kind of like, oh, is she at Oceanside? Did Tara send her on a mission? Like, you're a strong woman. Maybe you can talk to these other strong women about where we come from and what's happening and what we would like to have happen with them as part of the war against the Saviors. But no, turns out she's at Hilltop. She goes to the grave site, and we kind of presume, well, I guess she's saying goodbye to Abraham, or one last thing to say before she goes off and does what she's going to do. And there you go, you've got Sasha, who's already there. And now these two have butted heads. Of course, they both had a relationship with Abraham. And turns out that actually Rosita was there kind of looking for Sasha. Now, Sasha is another person who is scheduled for another TV show, a leading role, in fact, one I'm very happy for. The new Star Trek series, and she is supposed to be the captain of this new series, whatever ship it's going to be. You know, I don't know details. I just knew that I heard she was going to be the captain, which captain of a Star Trek show is the main character. And that has me very worried. Very worried that Rosita is going to get Sasha killed. That's my prediction going forward. I don't see anything else happening, but Sasha's going to die. That'll probably be the end of March to War for this season. There's going to be some deaths, definitely. There's going to be a kingdom something and a survivors main group something. That is the end of the episode, basically, is Rosita hands Sasha her weapon of choice, which is a kick-ass sniper rifle. This is a suicide mission. Pulling the old Carl. We'll have to see what happens there. I have a feeling we're certainly not going to find out next episode. Not fully, but to some degree. So I want to talk about the previews for next episode. Very kingdom heavy. Very much an apparent climax to all the tension that's been going on. And when the Savior group left there last time, they're like, there's gonna be a check to be paid. It's gonna be visceral. Something has to happen. So to think that the next meeting wasn't going to be a big problem, obviously Ezekiel is no fool. They look from the preview well and ready to handle what's going on, and just alone with the melee skills, you don't need the missile weapons, you don't need the guns. The kingdom can probably easily overpower that group. They show a grave, and I'm kind of worried about that because I believe the episode is called "Bury Me Here." It may be something sentimental, maybe something more grim. But then the best part of that, and it already looks good, I'm very excited for next week. But then we see Carol, and Carol back in full action, and I love the whole thing where she shows up and she grabs a street sign. She's at the gates of the kingdom. And like, what's she doing with the street sign? And then next thing you know, she's up in the tree using it to poke little holes in the heads of the walkers. Tactician as ever, jumps on down, takes a couple out. She gets seen taking one out brutally, Carol-esque style, you know, nonchalant. I was just on my way and it got in it. And young Benjamin's like, whoa, I had no idea. Everybody else probably did, but I didn't. And then he follows her in, and we've seen this before. You know, Carol is a very attachable character. She has so many redeemingly good qualities, and then when you think you know what they are, she pulls out a whole bag of another set of qualities. And in this world, those are qualities. When she pulls out the the set, we'll call it the Carol set. So, and then I watched The Talking Dead. Not much to report there. They had Superfan on there. I forget her name. I kept trying to remember it. Y'all know who she is, though. She was on Community, and she's always in the superhero scene, the science fiction genre stuff. But it wasn't much to show there. The big reason to watch that one was to see the preview, and what we got from there was the preview of Carol, which made me even more excited. So, yeah, next week looks to be promising in advance. This week did not. The Eugene Heavy week did not. But both episodes surprised me as far as my enjoyability. Oh, and one other thing I thought was kind of funny is that the deer. I was like, that thing is so CGI. And I just, thought, oh, they're trolling us. They got the CGI tiger we knew about, the skyline background, which got huge, troll heat. fan heat and blue screen, whatever it's called, you know, comparatively to green screen effects. But yeah, the deer to me at the certain scenes, I was like, oh, that thing is so fake. I also want to say about the blue screen, the surreal sky background from 2 episodes ago, the junkyard stuff. I thought that was on purpose. I thought that it was to highlight the exuberance of the situation. Like over the top of the hill, there's a bright sky with colors you've never seen before, or colors in a palette unlike what you've ever seen before. So it looked good to me, and I like the effect. And then the deer, of course, to me was just like, gotcha. We're a bunch of jackasses over here at The Walking Dead. Everybody is a mark these days. Everybody's a bit of a jackass. So yeah, it was fitting, and I loved it. Great episode. If I had to give it a rating, though, I'd go Pier 7, which is nothing that I couldn't have waited another week for, you know. I wasn't going to take off work like I would for the season openers and season finals. All right, y'all. So this is Brandon Hex. Thanks for listening in on my second review ever. Hopefully things take off and comments start happening, Q&As, and Facebook this and social network that. Everything's up and up. Thanks, guys. See you. And gals. And zombies and trolls. Whatever the hell you are.